Good morning, everyone. My name is Pascal. I am the marketing manager here at LinkedIn Dubai. Today I'll be your moderator for the session, and we'll be talking about how you can find and recruit top talent with LinkedIn in a particular industry that's really booming today in Dubai, which is the IT and Telecom industry. So I'm really happy to have with us today two great speakers. Dina is actually the territory manager at LinkedIn. Dina just joined LinkedIn 2 years ago, I think, and she's moved to Dubai about 6 months ago. And she's handling accounts for companies such as yours to help them find and recruit talent with LinkedIn. Now, another very special guest that we have today is Colin Christie. So I'm really excited to have Colin with us. Colin is the head of talent acquisition at Do, and Do has been a customer for over 2 years now. So he's going to share with us his experience with LinkedIn, how he's been working with us, but also how Do has been facing those challenges in the IT and telecom industry when it comes to recruiting the right people. So I'm really excited to hear more about how Do has been doing that. Just before we start, things you need to know. First of all, there's a lot of people on the call, so we cannot hear you, but you can hear us, and you can also see our screen. If you have any trouble, if you have any questions, just send them to myself in the chat box or to panelists or hosts. I'll be able to answer you. And we're also going to send the recording and the presentation, so you don't have to take any notes. Just keep your eyes on the screen and just listen to us. So I'm not going to talk too much about this now. I'm just going to give it back to Dina, and she's going to talk to us about how LinkedIn has been growing in the region and some insights about our members in the IT and telecom industry.
So thank you, Pascal, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. I'm really excited to be sharing with you the latest insight about our members in the telecommunication and IT engineering industry, and to be joined by Colin today. So now, before we dig into the numbers, I wanted to go back to the basics of LinkedIn. So our mission at LinkedIn is to connect the world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. Today we have reached 313 million members on LinkedIn with a growth rate of 2 new members every 1 second, which means that we have an average of 1 million members joining LinkedIn every week. So 2 years ago, we opened our new office in Dubai to be able to support our customers from the same region. At that point, we only had 5 million members in the MENA region. So now I'm really happy to announce that we have passed around 12 million members in the MENA region, including 1.5 million in the UAE and 1.3 million in Saudi Arabia. So I believe that everybody on the call has a LinkedIn profile. So let's see why are people on LinkedIn. So if we look at the screen, you can see that people are on LinkedIn to share their identity, which is the professional record of their qualifications, experience, and skills. They come to network with their colleagues, with their friends. They come to share knowledge and to gain knowledge through following companies, following influencers, and joining groups. So now we're not going to look at the 313 million members. We're going to focus more on one particular industry, which is the IT and the telecommunication industry. So the first thing I did to find out more information about our members in that industry was a quick search, just highlighting the information technology, telecommunication, computer software, and computer hardware industry. So we found out that we have over 1.3 million in EMEA that have indicated that they are working in the same sector. So probably they are interested to work for your company and you're interested to search for these candidates. So looking at the 1.3 million, you can see that 57% of them are on LinkedIn to connect and communicate. 81% are there to research people and companies. And worth mentioning that we have almost 45 million profiles are being viewed every day on LinkedIn. 70% stay up to date on the industry discussions. However, only 22% seek and learn about career opportunities and jobs. So based on this data, you'd notice that most of our members on LinkedIn are just there to network and share insights. So they are passive candidates, and LinkedIn has 70% of their members are passive candidates. They're not looking for a job opportunity. However, they will be open to new discussions about the job opportunity. So we wanted to get more insights about those members. So we looked at two main countries in the region, which is the UAE and Saudi Arabia. Looking at the UAE, the IT and telecom industry is represented by around 5,000 companies. 40% are mapped to the information technology industry, while 26 are coming from the telecommunication industry. And the most followed companies on LinkedIn in the UAE are Etisalat, IBM, Microsoft, and Oracle. And we're so lucky today to have Du. They're going to be sharing with us their best practices, success story, and a little bit of their experience finding passive candidates. So quickly looking at Saudi Arabia, so the IT and telecom industry is represented by around 2,600 companies. 40% are coming from telecommunication and another 40% coming from the information technology. And the top most followed companies in Saudi Arabia are Saudi Telecom Company, Mobile, Ericsson, Alarm Information Security, and BAE. Now that we have insights about those members, we want to share with you where you should be looking for these candidates. So in 2013, we analyzed the talent flow between countries in EMEA. And according to our data, 105,000 members moved to MENA region to start a new opportunity. How we detected this? It's very simple. When people update their profile, when they change their jobs, and also location.
So I just wanted to say something here. Like, for example, Dina actually moved from Dublin to Dubai. So Dina was based at LinkedIn in Dublin. So it's simple. She just went on LinkedIn, she updated her profile, and she said that she's no longer living in Dublin, but now in Dubai. So that's how LinkedIn can track how candidates are moving from one country to another. So, Dina is a really good example for that.
Focusing more on the IT and the telecommunication, we looked at the skills that were flowing into the region. And the top skills are information, IT infrastructure, computer networking, web programming, database management, .NET and application development. And if we look at the countries they're coming from, you would see that they're coming mainly from India, Pakistan, US, UK, and Philippines. And the bigger the font, the higher the volume. And then we asked those professionals, what do they look for in a job? And even though 66% of them said they're looking for benefits and compensations, it's interesting to see that 53% of them want a strong career path. They also want to work for a company with a long-term strategic vision. So when you're approaching a candidate, highlight the career path they could have. So let's say today an entry-level engineer has a room to grow and become a project manager on the long term. So these are all the stats and the insights I wanted to share with you. And we have much more that we can offer to our customers regarding the talent that they can find on LinkedIn. As you can see on the screen, these are a selection of our customers in the IT and the telecom. So we have Etisalat, HP, Bain, Cisco, Orange, Du, Oracle, and some other companies. And we're so lucky to have Du today again. So enough about LinkedIn. I'm really excited to hear what Du has to share with us about the recruitment challenges and approaches they took to find and maintain talent in the region. So I'll leave it to Colin, and we're really looking forward to your story.
Hello, everybody. First of all, let me thank LinkedIn for inviting me today. It's very nice to be here in LinkedIn's Dubai headquarters. I want to tell you a little bit about Du and a little bit about how we, as recruiters, try to address some of the issues and problems we have attracting talent. So to start off with a little bit of background about Du. If you're not aware of Du, we're a telecommunications organization, telecommunication operator, with a second entrant operator in the UAE. We're a very young company. We were formed in 2006. Our network launched in 2007. And here we are 7 years later with a revenue of $3 billion. We employ about 1,800 souls. And if you look at this nice picture of our flagship office here, and you were to enter that and go up to the 37th floor, you find my office. That's a little bit of a background there. Now, as recruiters, we all face, I think, similar challenges, no matter what the industry. It's always hard. I think it's particularly hard in IT and Telco because you're always looking for the latest thing, the latest gadget, the latest technology, the latest person, which is always going to make it a difficult area for recruitment. We have fantasy expectations from our managers. The story I always like to tell is when I started my recruitment career and Java had been invented in about 1997, I went to a client site in 2000 and the line manager said, I need someone with Java programming experience and they must have at least 6 years. And I think this is indicative of how people think in technology. They're looking for the latest, they're looking for somebody with exposure to everything, they're looking for somebody who's cheap, and we can never get that. The market is the same kind of statement really, but because it's in continuous evolution, it has a double effect. So we get pressures from Expo 2020, we get pressures from Smart City, we get pressures from LTE, we get pressures from fiber, fast networks, etc. So we're always looking for the next big thing, technologically as well as people-wise. Fourth, we have a real filtration problem. Many of the organizations that Pascal and Dino have mentioned will have the same problem as do, and at the middle levels, we actually get too much response. We put a generic advert out 2 months ago, just where people could apply without applying to a particular job, and in those 2 months alone, we have had 9,000 applications. So there we have a real filtration and a real customer experience problem because we want to give all those 9,000 people a decent experience and a decent view of do, but of course we cannot interview them all, we cannot communicate with them all individually. So we have to look at things like that. And then the last challenge I personally have, which some of you will, is that we have amortization targets that we set ourselves, but they're very difficult to hit. And finding talented MRRTs in that middle management section is very, very difficult for us. Getting talented GPs is no problem. Getting talented senior people is no problem. But we're squeezed, like many of you are, in the middle layer because of high salary expectations. If people are very good, they get headhunted, and it's difficult to retain our staff as well. So amortization is a big, big, big problem to do. What's our strategy? Well, since I've arrived in Do, we try to have a much more social approach to our recruitment. We'll try to be much more involved with the society we find ourselves in. The first point of call, of course, for many people when they're looking at Do is our careers website. So we revamped that, we reevaluated it, and we try and keep it up to date, and we try and change it. And I'm using try because it's very hard to do. As I'm sure you guys are all aware, we have a very talented recruitment team. They've been handpicked by me and they're trained to death, and I'm very proud of them. I think they do a great job. But to help them do a great job, what we've tried to do is implement a very simple recruitment process. I think this is where many companies go wrong. Recruitment, as my old colleague used to say, recruitment is a simple business made complicated by stupid businesses, by stupid people. I think he may have a point in that we all try and add so much value to recruitment, we often miss the simple points. And the simple points are you're looking to find the right person for the right job at the right cost at the right time. So we make our recruitment process internally as simple as possible. We have simple approvals, we have a simple process, we have simple assessments, because we are ultimately all simple people. I give clear ownership to my team. They have clear responsibilities for their jobs they're recruiting. They have clear sign-off responsibility. They have clear budgetary responsibility. And they have clear responsibility when it comes to using outsourced partners, etc. We also visibly track everything they do. And the greatest thing I've ever done in my entire career to date is put a TV behind my desk which shows the status of exactly the status of each recruitment activity. And it's color-coded for us simple people, so it's red for bad, amber for about to be bad, and green for okay. And this way, everybody, the line, my team, my colleagues knows exactly what's going on at any given stage, and it's a wonderful idea, and I recommend you all do it. Lastly, we have business relationships to maintain. So we use external consultancies, we use recruitment agencies, as many of you do. We have executive search relationships, we have vendor relationships, we have relationships with people like LinkedIn. And I think what's very important for any business is to have strong relationships. We want to have a win-win relationships with these organizations. Now, win-win is one of these phrases that people trot off, and it's lost its meaning to a degree. But it's important that LinkedIn know what Dee's values are. It's important that I know what LinkedIn's values are. It's important that our agencies know about me, about our team, about our desires and hopes and challenges and all the rest of it, because that way they can sell an accurate and decent and honest employee value proposition to our potential employees. And that makes a big difference between engagement going forward, a big difference to attrition, and a big difference to how successful we ultimately are in providing decent staff. So how did LinkedIn help us with this solution of finding tough people in a tough market with tough skills? Well, as Pascal mentioned, we started our relationship a couple of years ago, and the first thing LinkedIn did was really help us with our careers page. So it helped us keep our careers page up to date. We have our jobs wrapped automatically to our careers page on LinkedIn. The LinkedIn page was developed with the help of LinkedIn, and it's got a much more funky look and feel than our own careers page. It's got some videos on there, and because the jobs are constantly changing, it feels live. So even though we might not be having a resource to go and manage our communications or a resource to manage stories, just the jobs changing makes the site live, so people get updates if they want to follow us, etc. We have several recruiter licenses, so that my team can go and search and source candidates and run the projects on the recruiter software. They've all been trained in that, and they're all undergoing training on an ongoing basis as well. And this allows them to go and source passive candidates, source active candidates, or just get in contact with people that they've heard about. It's a very, very powerful search engine, and given the figures that Dean has mentioned before, I think it's the de facto place to go to for finding talent in the Middle East. Another thing we've done with LinkedIn Solution is we've secured all our, and Pascal's just showing you a project example there. You can put in a project and find people in customer service and email them all at the same time if you want to. It's very, very powerful. The other thing we noticed is that as an employer, as a LinkedIn candidate, if you were looking at Colin Christie's profile, then you might see an advert in the right-hand corner saying something like, imagine yourself working at Etisalat. It might say something horrific like that. So another service we bought at LinkedIn was that we blocked all our employees. So if you look at any new employee now, you won't see an advert for a competitor. But what you will see is an opportunity to follow Do, an opportunity to follow our brand, and an opportunity to find more about us as the jobs change, as we post information, whatever else you can do on LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm rambling. I'll try and be a bit more coherent. Getting back to sourcing passive candidates, I think here's another slight misnomer. I think we all in recruitment trot out the mantra that passive candidates are the best candidates you want. I'm not sure if that's true. The best candidate is the best candidate for the job at the time. And what LinkedIn will do is allow you to find passive, active, and perhaps disenfranchised candidates. But if they've got the right skills, if they're in the right area, they've got the right availability, and actually they might be disengaged where they are, but they could be engaged with your company, and LinkedIn allows you to bypass all those things. I think organizations can make their own decision as to who's going to be active, who's going to be engaged, whether that's passive or not. But having the ability through a system such as LinkedIn for finding any candidate with any skill set really, really helps our recruiters.
I think I remember you telling me a story about how someone asked you for the role, and you said that you found someone, like 10 candidates, and you approached them, and 4 of them were in your type.
Very true. So we had a very specific HR role just 2 weeks ago when we were discussing this webcast. Looking for some particular HR skills. I won't mention the brand. We wanted a local candidate, we wanted an Emirati candidate, and we needed to find it yesterday, like we always do. So I did a quick search on LinkedIn Recruiter. I did it myself. I found 10 suitable candidates. I sent an in-mail to all 10 of them. 5 responded very quickly. Since we've spoken, actually, I've spoken to those 5. I have 2 interviews this week, and I expect it to be closed, within 14 days. So very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Now, actually, these people are actively looking, which comes back to my point. They've both recently lost their jobs for one reason or another, but I won't hold that against them. We'll give them a fair assessment, and we'll see what they're like when I see them face to face. I think the other thing that LinkedIn does is it allows us to really assess the marketplace. So repeating the point of earlier, when a manager has unrealistic expectations, so they're looking for somebody with Java and SAP and an MBA and a Stanford degree and all that sort of stuff, we can go onto LinkedIn and we can say, okay, well, there's 3 people in the world that have this, and they're all operating at CEO level. Do you want us to approach it, or can we revisit the job description? And LinkedIn is a very powerful tool for having those conversations with the line. It also allows candidates, of course, to follow us. So candidates that have an interest in can follow us, and they can get updates on the jobs, they can get updates on me, etc., and they can make sure that we're always on the top of their mind. Lastly, let's talk about the brand index. So LinkedIn, as I'm sure some of you know, some of you who have the LinkedIn solution have a brand index calculation that nobody really understands. However, it does seem to indicate what people are thinking about Do and how interested people are in Do and what their relationship with Do is through the LinkedIn platform. Now, the great thing about this is since we've signed up with LinkedIn, we can track what that brand index is over time, and Do's is increasing exponentially. It's got one of those lovely upward curves, and if nothing else, that demonstrates that some sort of return on investment is going on, in addition to the money we save using agencies, etc., which we can calculate easily. And I think these things combined make us very, very comfortable with the service we're getting from LinkedIn. So what results have Do had in the last 2 years? Well, they're here flashed up on the screen in front of you. Well, I think they speak for themselves. We've reduced our time to hire from actually over 120 days 2.5 years ago. This year we're going to do about 27 days per hire. For about 400 disparate recruitment activities a year, I think that's pretty good.
And that's actually from the time you post the job to the time you actually hire that person, so including the probation, like the period.
Unfortunately not. So, no. So this is the time from when the job actually, when we get the authority to recruit, through to the candidate accepting.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, especially at senior levels, you might have a 3-month notice period or whatnot, and I don't take responsibility for that.
Makes sense.
We've massively increased the talent pool, so the people following Do is now up to about 40,000. I seem to remember when we started the relationship with LinkedIn, it was 20,000, so it's doubled. And again, that's increasing exponentially. Agency cost has significantly decreased. We can prove that with figures. I won't go into the details because people get very funny about that. But I can say there's been a significant saving, and the saving has more than paid for our LinkedIn. Hopefully the LinkedIn sales aren't listening to this. We've definitely increased our social reach, which we already mentioned.
More than 50%.
More than 50%, so it's more than doubled, yeah, exactly. So it's actually 10 to 40, I thought it was 20 to 40, so I apologise. And I also like to think that we've also both improved just through a brand association. I think Do helps LinkedIn by being a reference client for the Middle East, and I think vice versa, LinkedIn helps Do for being, helping us have that association, helps us attract people from outside of the region. Do is a very powerful brand in the Middle East, and particularly in Dubai, but no one's heard of it in the UK. No one's heard of it in America, and LinkedIn certainly helps us get our message out to these countries and these geographies as well. I don't know if there's any questions come in, but that's all from me today.
Well, I'm just going to wait for a couple of people. If you have any questions, you can send them on the chat box. So we have Colin with us, so you can send him any questions you might have, any challenges that you might have seen in your industry. While we're waiting for those questions to come in, I wanted to invite everyone on the call today to have a look at this event that's coming up in London. So we have a flagship event happening every year in London called Talent Connect, It is probably the biggest recruiting event that LinkedIn organizes, and I'm pretty sure that it's one of the most famous ones in Europe. So it's happening on the 12th and 13th of November. It's 2 full days of conference. You're going to meet a lot of people. It will be an experience more than just being at a conference and sitting and listening to people talk. So I really encourage you to have a look at the website. It's just here. And if you are interested to register, you can register online. And you can also just contact us for more information. So at this point, I'm just going to look again at the questions, but I'm not getting much questions in.
I can only assume we've answered everything.
I guess people are happy with everything.
I have a question. Where's the location of Talent Connect?
Talent Connect is at the Excel Center in London, so it's a bit out of the city. It's quite a large event, so we're expecting almost 1,000 to 1,500 people. So 1,500 people, and they're all from your industry, so I'm sure it's going to be pretty interesting for you guys.
And I think the other thing that was mentioned to me the other day is how it's set up. It's not just one set of speakers, is it? It's also breakout rooms and workshops.
That's right. So we're having almost 3 tracks running in parallel. So you can choose from the topic that you'd like to hear about. It could be recruitment, it could be talent pipeline, it could be employer branding. So it's all on the website. So I really encourage you to have a look at that. I will send you the presentation after this webcast, so just have a look at the email that's going to come out from me. And thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm just going to give you your day back and talk to you soon. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.